Imagine standing in the cold, biting air of a courtyard, your heart hammering against your ribs like a trapped bird, knowing that everything you built, everything you believed, and every promise you made is currently crumbling into ashes. You are Peter. You are the rock, the leader, the man who walked on water, yet here you are, shivering in the shadows, choosing to lie to save your own skin. You have betrayed the very Son of God. If you feel like your greatest failure has permanently disqualified you from your purpose, you need to hear this message right now. So make sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications, because today we are uncovering the secret to returning from your worst mistake. Most people think Peter's story ended the moment the rooster crowed, but they are dead wrong. The truth about what happened in the days following that denial is the most powerful blueprint for your own restoration. Peter was not a man of half measures. He was a fisherman by trade, a man of calloused hands, quick temper, and impulsive courage. He was the one who drew his sword in the Garden of Gethsemane, ready to take on a Roman cohort to defend his Savior. He was the one who declared with absolute conviction that even if everyone else abandoned Jesus, he would never do so. Yet, we find him in a situation that feels terrifyingly familiar to any of us who have ever failed under pressure. He was terrified, he was exhausted, and he was being questioned by a servant girl in a hostile environment. In the heat of that moment, the man who had been given the keys to the kingdom chose convenience over character. He denied knowing Jesus 3 times. When the rooster crowed, the reality settled in. It was not just a mistake, it was a total collapse of identity. We have all had our rooster moments. Maybe you made a choice that cost you your reputation. Maybe you gave in to a temptation you promised you would never touch again. Maybe you walked away from a calling because fear blinded you to the truth of who you were. When you look at Peter, you see your own reflection. The world tells you that your failure is your final status. Society, and often even your own internal critic, tells you that once you cross a certain line, the bridge is burned and the way back is closed forever. But the narrative of the gospel is not one of perfection, but of relentless, pursuit-driven grace. Peter did not hide in a cave for the rest of his life. He did not retire to the fishing boats of Galilee and give up on the gospel. He went through a process of transformation that turned his greatest shame into his ultimate strength. After the denial, Peter was shattered. He went out and wept bitterly. That bitterness was the breakdown of his own self-reliance. For years, Peter believed that his loyalty to Jesus was enough to sustain him. He thought his willpower, his boldness, and his passion were the pillars of his faith. But the denial proved that his flesh was weak. This is the secret that so many people miss. You cannot be truly used by God until you have acknowledged the total inadequacy of your own strength. Peter had to be emptied of his pride before he could be filled with the power that would eventually change the world. It is a painful process, but it is the only way to reach the level of maturity required for a true calling. You might be suffering right now, feeling the weight of your own inadequacy, but understand that this is exactly where the refiner's fire begins to work. Think about the atmosphere in the days following the crucifixion. Everything was silent. The followers of Jesus were scattered, living in fear of the religious authorities. Peter was likely haunted by the sound of that rooster. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the face of Jesus turning to look at him through the courtyard. That moment of eye contact was not a look of condemnation. It was a look of deep, sorrowful love. It was the look of someone who knew exactly who Peter was before he even realized it himself. Jesus knew that Peter would fail, and yet he had already prayed for him. This is the vital truth you need to grasp. God saw your current failure before you ever committed it, and the plan for your restoration was already in motion long before you hit rock bottom. The transition from failure to restoration for Peter happened in a very specific way. He did not try to fix himself. He did not go on a public apology tour to earn back his status. Instead, he returned to the place where he was first called. He went back to the Sea of Galilee. There is something profoundly poetic and necessary about returning to the roots of your identity when you have lost your way. Peter picked up his nets again, not because he was giving up on the mission, but because he was waiting. He was waiting for the one who had the power to redefine him. When Jesus appeared on the shore, he did not start by listing all of Peter's failures. He did not bring up the lie, the fear, or the cowardice. He asked for breakfast. He met Peter in the mundane, in the place of work, in the place where it all began. This is where the shift happens. It is not about your performance. It is about your presence with the Lord. Jesus looked at Peter and asked him, "Do you love me?" He asked it 3 times, once for every time Peter had denied him. This was not a cruel interrogation. It was a surgical healing process. Each question stripped away another layer of Peter's shame. It allowed Peter to vocalize his love, to replace the memory of his denial with a fresh declaration of devotion. If you are struggling today with a failure that you think is unforgivable, you need to stop trying to hide from God. You need to come to the shore. You need to present your broken heart to the only person who can stitch it back together. The restoration of Peter's calling was not based on his ability to be perfect. It was based on his humble admission of love. Look at the trajectory of Peter's life after this interaction. He went from being a man who was afraid of a servant girl to being the man who stood before the Sanhedrin, the most powerful religious court in his nation, and boldly preached the resurrection of Jesus. He was no longer relying on his own courage. He was no longer the man who boasted about his loyalty. He had been transformed by the grace of God. He understood that he was a man who had been forgiven, and that knowledge gave him an unshakable, indestructible confidence. That is the power of a restored calling. When you have been through the fire, when you have faced your worst self and found that God's grace is still there waiting for you, you become dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. You might be asking, how does this apply to your life right now? Perhaps you are currently in the middle of a trial that feels like it will never end. You feel rejected, you feel misunderstood, and you feel that your past choices have permanently disqualified you from the life you always wanted to live. You feel like a disappointment to your family, to your peers, or perhaps even to God. But Peter's life is a standing testimony that your current chapter is not your final book. The pain you are experiencing is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to deepen your capacity for empathy and your reliance on the divine. Peter became the shepherd of the early church precisely because he knew what it was like to be lost and found. Your ministry, your purpose, and your future impact are being forged in the furnace of your current experience. Consider the theological implications of this restoration. If Peter, the man who denied the Messiah, could become the rock upon which the church was built, what does that say about your potential? It says that the grace of God is not a limited resource. It is an ocean that swallows up our failures and spits out a new creation. You are not defined by the moments you fell. You are defined by the moment you chose to turn back to the shepherd. This is not a license to live carelessly. It is a call to live courageously. It is the realization that because you have nothing to offer but your love and your brokenness, you have everything God needs to work through you. Do not allow the enemy to keep you in the courtyard of your past. The rooster has stopped crowing. The sun has risen on a new day. The same Jesus who looked at Peter with love in the middle of his worst failure is looking at you right now. He is inviting you to breakfast. He is inviting you to set aside your shame, to stop the cycle of self-condemnation, and to step back into the purpose He whispered over your life before the foundations of the world were laid. The world is waiting for people who have been through the storm, who have made mistakes, and who have been brought back by the hand of the Almighty. Your testimony, the story of how you failed and how you were restored, is exactly what someone else needs to hear to survive their own trial. We have seen how Peter moved from fear to faith, from denial to devotion, and from failure to leadership. This wasn't a linear process of improvement. It was a radical surrender of his own ego. He learned that the only way to hold the keys to the kingdom was to recognize that the owner of the kingdom was the one holding him. This is your moment to make that same transition. You are standing at a crossroads. You can continue to carry the weight of your mistakes, letting them define your identity and limit your potential, or you can drop that burden at the feet of Jesus. The choice is yours, but remember that the calling on your life did not come from your own merit, and therefore it cannot be revoked by your own failure. It is rooted in the sovereign, unchanging, and eternal love of God. As we look toward the future, ask yourself what you are willing to let go of today. Are you willing to let go of your image? Are you willing to let go of the need to be seen as perfect? Are you willing to embrace the reality that you are a work in progress? When you stop trying to project strength and start living in the power of the Spirit, everything changes. Your relationships will become more authentic, your work will take on a deeper sense of meaning, and your faith will move from a set of rules to a living, breathing connection with the Creator. This is the life that Peter lived, and this is the life that is available to you. The impact of this truth is not just for your own benefit, it is for everyone around you. When you are restored, you become a beacon of hope for others who are currently shivering in the shadows of their own denials. You become a voice of reason in a world that is obsessed with perfection and terrified of vulnerability. You become a living example of the grace that saves, the grace that sustains, and the grace that commissions. Do not waste your pain. Let God turn it into your greatest platform for impact. The world does not need more perfect heroes who have nothing to lose. The world needs men and women who have failed, who know the depths of their own weakness, and who have seen the heights of God's redeeming power. We have walked through the courtyard, we have stood by the sea, and we have witnessed the transformation of a broken fisherman into a foundational pillar of the faith. We have seen that your failure is not the end of your story, but the beginning of your greatest testimony. There is no mistake too large for the cross, and there is no distance too far for the reach of God's grace. As you reflect on these truths, remember that you are not alone in this journey. Thousands of others are walking this same path toward restoration and purpose. If you have found this message, it is because you were meant to hear it. Do not walk away from this video the same way you came in. Take the step, commit to the process, and trust that the one who started a good work in you will surely carry it to completion. If this message has touched your heart and you are ready to stop letting your past dictate your future, you need to take action today. We are building a community of people who are committed to living out their God-given purpose, regardless of the trials they have faced. Join us in this mission by liking this video, sharing it with someone who is currently struggling with their own failures, and clicking the link in the description to join our inner circle, where we provide deeper insights, exclusive content, and a supportive network for your spiritual journey. Don't wait for the perfect time to start your restoration. The time is now. Your calling is still waiting for you. Get back on your feet, return to the shore, and watch what God does with the rest of your life.